Hello, welcome to Ghost Pepper Lollipop, where the takes are spicy, the host is sweet, and we engage multiple things can be true at the same time, and often are. I hope y'all had a good weekend and a good week. This week is another heavy one. Yeah, I know. We live in a rather heavy world, and I figured that since we already kind of opened up the DB door, we may as well walk on through it and have a discussion about it so that maybe we can stop some patterns and cycles, because that really is the only way we help any of us, is we stop the normalization of behaviors that are harmful to us. One thing that abuser types don't tend to understand is that they abuse themselves when they abuse others. There are some that get off on the abuse and enjoy it, and there are some that just, I don't think they necessarily know that they're being abusive, and certainly probably wouldn't want to be if they did realize it. So today we are going to look at a book by the expert in abusive men. Now, the reason why we look at abusive men, we are an anti-misogyny channel, and we talk about men here. And men don't often have this conversation honestly with themselves and each other, and we have to normalize doing that for y'all. We have to make it a safe conversation for y'all to have, because if you don't have the conversation, you won't look at fixing the problems. So we have to let it be known that these are what we see and understand as far as patterns and behaviors go, and then start a conversation around those things. It will be better if y'all do that within your own communities to each other. And you can do that. And accountability is hard, but you can do that too. And I believe in you. This red team space will remain a space where we will try to make it safe for you to learn how to take accountability. And I hope that you take the opportunity. Taking accountability and learning to change is hard, but it is good for you as well as everyone you come in encounters with. And you're worth the effort for better encounters in your life, whether you believe me or not. Plus, the only people you're doing any good by being abuser men, the only people you're helping is the patriarchs. And the patriarchs are not y'all. They are people like the Mango Mussolini and the Elmo Ferrer and the rest of that horror crew. Those ones with the billions of dollars that control all the way that everything works, those are the patriarchs. And they love the fact that they can keep you stuck in your baser selves and doing baser behaviors. Because if they can keep you from actually thinking and actually stepping outside of those very base behaviors that require no thought, no strength of mind, and no working through your shit, if they can keep you doing those base behaviors, you are the perfect puppet. They can stuff their hands right up your butts and go, meh, 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 meh. Yeah. That's the analogy I'm using this week. Y'all are being puppets. Abusive men are puppets. Meh, 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 meh. Do you like meh, meh, meh for the patriarchy? I don't think I would. I think that I would probably see that. Meh, 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 meh. Oh, that's gonna make some of you mad. Woo! Ooh, leave it in the comments. It's fine. I usually answer them. So leave it in the comments, baby. You can express. I will permit you to have your expressions right down there in the comments. Because maybe if we can help you unpack this shit, you'll stop going meh, 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 meh to the patriarchs. All right, let's get into this shit. He really is a storm of it this week. So Lundy Bancroft wrote a book called Why Does He Do That? And in this book, he has archetypes of the abuser, or of abuser men, rather. And that is what we're going to discuss. We are going to go through the archetypes of abuser men. The reason is looking for patterns of behavior in yourself that you don't necessarily like. And this is not so that you can take that bat and abuse yourself or self-abuse with it. This is so that you start to recognize behaviors and you can build habits in your subconscious to help you not do the behaviors you don't like doing. So most of the time, an abusive person that doesn't understand they're being abusive or doesn't realize it won't recognize the behaviors until they have them pointed out. And oftentimes this society is so bad at accountability and at teaching us how to set healthy boundaries and hold people accountable in a healthy way for both parties, that people will go around and just not tell you that you're doing these things. And that's unfair to you. And also, it's because of fear. People fear men because men are violent creatures, because y'all tell yourselves that you're violent creatures, and so you perpetuate violence. It's not that men are innately violent, it's that society and men tell themselves that they're violent, and so they continue to do violent things. They tell themselves they need control, they tell themselves they're predators. Y'all tell yourselves these things, and these things make you behave in ways that make you not like you. And you have to fix that. You have to start looking at these situations where you're getting mad at me for saying certain things as moments to learn and take in a new way. So if you can see these patterns and you can see these things, you can take that to the mirror and you know what you're combing out and you know how much it's going to hurt and how much force to put into the comb. You have to take the time to heal yourself. First, you have to know what you're healing yourself of. Now, Bancroft is not only the expert in abusive men, he's also a man. So I'm hoping that you believe him if you believe nobody else. So Bancroft says that the abuse archetypes are not to be meant as sort of a hard and fast model. Not all abusive men will be like these descriptions all of the time. And also, it's more, some men can mold into different archetypes, different traits from each archetype or whatever. So he says, don't consider it to be just each archetype is a different man, I'm sorry, but sometimes to look at it as though this could be different facets of an abusive man. So whatever way you need to orient that in your mind, that will best help you sort out the behaviors and patterns that you don't want to see in yourself, or that you're noticing in a friend that maybe you need to step in and help your friend learn to take accountability. Because oftentimes, men, you are going to know somebody that exhibits these behaviors. And if you recognize these in them, they're hurting somebody with them. And they'll listen to other men. And I know it's scary and I know they're violent. Trust me, I'm sitting here every week doing this and it's scary. I get it. It's hard. And they'll listen to you before they'll listen to me. They will take what you say in because they really do want you to think well of them. They don't give a flying rat's patootie what I think, but they want you to think well of them. The only reason they'd care what I think is if they think they can get in my pants, which will never happen because, ew, men. I'm gay for good reason. Because, ew, men. All right, let's move forward, gentlemen. Shall we? Let's talk about what this is. So we're going to be basically looking at a well-stocked kitchen that has a bunch of different ingredients. And when you put certain ingredients together, they make a certain recipe, right? So let's look at these sort of as recipes for certain types of abusive men. I know. I get graphic and with my verbiage. It's all right. You put different verbiage in if you don't want to be in a well-stocked kitchen. I don't know how to help you here. Go buy the book, read it for yourself. Let's discuss our first type of abusive man. The first type of abusive man that we're going to discuss is the demand man. And the demand man has things to say like this: it's your job to do things for me, including taking care of my responsibilities if I drop the ball on them. If I'm unhappy about any aspect of my life, whether it has to do with our relationship or not, it's your fault. You should not place demands on me at all. You should be grateful for whatever I choose to give. I am above criticism. I'm a very loving and giving partner. You're lucky to have me. This man might say these things and while being incredibly controlling and entitled. And he may come off angry and blamey if his needs aren't met to his specifications. And he'll become incredibly enraged oftentimes if he is not catered to or if he's inconvenienced in a minor way. Now, he also feels the need to tell his partner how awful she is and how stupid she is and how foolish she is as often as possible so that he can keep her on shaky ground. Not every demanding partner is an abuser, of course, so we're talking specific abusive type of behaviors. He has no sense of reciprocal responsibility, and so he will demand emotional support, favors, caretaking, and etc., and most especially sexual attention, well out of the range of his own contribution. So he will demand far more than what he is giving. He will exaggerate his contributions as well. The demand man will tell everybody, including that woman, how amazing and kind and wonderful he is. And he is going to hold on to that one time he was real nice to you back in 1976. You're probably going to be able to tell every detail of that one time back in 1976 when he was just so nice. Now, when he doesn't get what he feels is his due, he will punish his partner for letting him down. If he is ever generous and supportive, it is because he feels like it. And when he doesn't feel like it, don't expect anything. And don't dare ask anything or demand anything of him. That will cause an entire meltdown with possible physical violence. Now, if your needs conflict with his needs, he is going to demand and expect you to make sure that his needs are met before yours and prioritized over. So, make sure that you are always prioritizing him, because if not, he's going to tell you and everybody you and he know what an ungrateful, selfish little insert his favorite word there. Gentlemen, what's your favorite word to use in those moments? You want to tell me? You want to use that word on me? I know some of you do. Comments down below. That's where you put that shit. I mean, you will get read, and then I will read you. But hey, do you, boo? If you want to put some nonsense down in the comments, because this struck a chord, first thing I need you to do before you start typing is lace up those shoes, because there was probably something about what I just said that triggered in you something you don't like about you. So lace those shoes up, because you don't want to be tripping on your way to the keyboard. I mean, you might mess up your keyboard. When you hit your nose, it's bloody. I mean, noses, they just keep bleeding. And if you trip and you hit your face, you may need a new keyboard. So make sure you get to the keyboard. So do that in through your nose, out through your mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lace the shoes up, and then make your snarky comment right down below. Right down below. All right, let's get into the next type. The next type is Mr. Always Right, and he has specific driving attitudes as well. And his would sound something like this if you could get in his head. You should be in awe of my intelligence and should look up to me intellectually. I know better than you do, even about what's good for you. Your opinions aren't worth listening to carefully or taking seriously. The fact that you sometimes disagree with me shows how sloppy your thinking is. You make really bad decisions. You know you make really bad decisions. If you would just accept that I know what's right, our relationship would go much better. Your own life would go better too. When you disagree with me about something, no matter how respectfully or meekly, that's mistreatment of me. If I put you down for long enough, someday you'll see. Mr. Always Right, he really believes he is right. He really believes that there is no opinion better than his opinion on any subject, and he can mansplain to you every subject. Most especially, he can mansplain you all about what's wrong with you from his perspective, because he's an expert on everything, including you. Mr. Always Right is always trying to make his partner think the way he wants them to think. Mr. Always Right can't have a partner that does critical thinking because they would leave him by the curb and make sure he was Mr. Always Lonely. Mr. Always Right will talk down about and to his partner, to others, and directly to their face. Mr. Always Right, if questioned or pushed by the partner who wants to be seen as a whole person and have opinions and, think for themselves, Mr. Always Right will become insultive or assaultive because he cannot handle for his tiny, fragile little ego to be questioned in the slightest amount, lest his head explode. Mr. Always Right has something really wrong with him. I'm just gonna put it there. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I say snarky things. Snarky things are gonna come out of my face. Mr. Always Right is kind of always an ass. I'm gonna call him Mr. Mansplainer. Mr. Mansplainer thinks he's always right. Mr. Mansplainer tells you how stupid you are because you couldn't possibly know anything with your little girl brain. Mr. Mansplainer doesn't respect himself or anybody else, and he probably is treating his friends in much the same way. There's got to be somebody that he considers low enough on the totem pole in the man pool of his homosocial friends that he abuses in the same way. So, gentlemen, if you see him abusing your man friend like that, he's abusing others like that, and you should probably, stick up for your friend, boo. I don't know. Y'all are the ones that have to stop normalizing these behaviors. And if you do see yourself as this type of person, you need to take that shit to the mirror and work on it. Your biases and how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself will dictate how you talk to and treat other people. Start there. If that's where you need a starting point because it's so big, start there. But you have to stop normalizing and okaying for you to see yourself as superior to other people. Mr. Always Right really does see that he is superior and more knowledgeable than others. I think deep down he knows that he's not, and he is terrified of anyone thinking for themselves lest they fully understand that he really doesn't know a quarter of the bullshit that comes out of his mouth that he thinks he does know. So, that being said, if that stung, if somebody got triggered by what I said, Let's practice that whole exercise in lacing our shoes up so that we can walk to the keyboard to make our snarky comment. Ready? Let's do the exercise. It's a simple one. It only takes a couple of seconds and it keeps you from needing a new keyboard. So let's go. Ready? In through the nose, out through the mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lace those shoes up. You got this. Now you can go to the keyboard and write your snarky comment. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? Yes, I think we shall. I think we shall. All right, let's talk about the next type of abusive, insecure man. This type is unaffectionately known as the water torturer. And that should tell you about all you need to know, except for here we go. These are the types of attitudes that drive the water torturer. You're crazy. You fly off the handle over nothing. I can easily convince other people that you're the one who's messed up. As long as I'm calm, you can't call anything I do abusive, no matter how cruel. I know exactly how to get under your skin. The water torturer is the type that loves plausible deniability and exploits it at every turn. The water torturer gets in with a psychological X-Acto knife and goes right for the parts of his partner that he knows he can poke and get a rise out of. That way, he can make the partner get so upset while he sits and just calm with this smug ass look on his face, like, what are you so upset by? Why are you getting all upset? All while he laughs at them, makes cutting remarks, demeans them. But so long as he stays calm and he looks good to other people and he can say, she just sometimes loses her mind. I don't know why. She just loses her mind, starts yelling for no reason. I mean, I've only poked her psychologically for the last 47 days in a row. I didn't expect her to lose it like this, though. Why can't she keep it together? I was just calling her all kinds of names for the last 4 hours. I mean, I thought she was stronger than that. This type of man will triangulate people around the partner, help him abuse the partner, and make it seem to those people like she's just crazy. And in fact, he will probably call her crazy. This type of abuser is even willing to use children. He's the type that will take and get a mom real upset where she yells at him and record it and play it for their young child and be like, see how mean she is? She's so mean. She's always yelling. I don't know why she yells like this. The water torturer plays on plausible deniability and messing with the partner's mentals to the point where the partner actually believes they might be the problem. This type of abuser is incredibly dangerous. They'll do small acts of abuse before the big ones. When they're doing physical acts, it'll be the things like restraining, which we know is a battery because we listened to Lundy Bancroft last Friday tell us so. But these men employ those because there's plausible deniability. I keep an even tone. I make her yell. And everybody will believe me because I'm so calm, so even tempered. This type of man is dangerous and does hurt people. And if this type of man exists within your male community, you will recognize the signs and you should know he's hurting somebody. Maybe you should have a talk with that guy. Maybe you should check in with his partner and see if maybe she's okay or they're okay. If you know a man like that, you should check in with their partner. If you are a man like that, because you know you are, if you got stung and you're mad at me right now, remember, let's do it together. Come on, we got this. Ready? In through the nose, out through the mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lace them shoes up so that you don't trip. On your way to write me your nasty comment. Let's go. All right, let's move forward because we aren't done yet. You thought there were only 3 types? Ha! Y'all are basic, but unfortunately not quite that basic. While all of these abuser types have the potentiality for physical danger and physical threat to one's person, the next one is almost assuredly physically abusive as well as psychologically. If you know a man like this in your friend group, listen to this description carefully and figure out a way to help anyone that might be being harmed without getting them harmed worse. Call the hotlines. I will have them posted throughout the video. They can tell you how to help if you do know somebody like this and want to help the people in their life. This abuser type is called the drill sergeant, and his central driving attitudes are going to set are if they came from his mind would be, I need to control your every move or you'll do it wrong. I know the exact way that everything should be done. You shouldn't have anyone else or anything else in your life besides me. I'm going to watch you like a hawk to keep you from developing strength or independence. If I can't have you, no one can. I love you more than anyone in the world, but you disgust me. The drill sergeant is controlling. He will be controlling psychologically and physically. He will run his partner's wife most often. He will be critical of her clothing. Everything she does will be up for a debate of whether she did it right, well enough. He will tell her when she can and can't go out and who she can and can't associate with. He will interfere with work oftentimes. He does not want her to have anyone that she can talk to or confide in because that person is a risk to stopping him from, having his favorite play toy to abuse. Because he's insecure and fragile and he only knows how to hurt people to feel strong because he's too much of a coward to go seek help for his ouchies. So he decides to perpetuate them onto others because that's what weak, tiny men that are afraid of their feelings do. He's probably listening to phone calls, reading the partner's mail. He will probably abuse children as well, and if nothing else, have children reporting to him on everything that his partner does. There will likely be a curfew for her if she's allowed it out at all, and she is most likely being hit. She has no freedom, and she never will feel like she has any more freedom than an 8-year-old. The partners in this situation are incredibly frightened and they are hostages. They cannot seek the resources in order to get assistance. Many of them will be hospitalized or severely hurt multiple times before they can escape. Is the most dangerous time to leave an abuser like this, or the most dangerous time for the victim, is when they leave. So with an abuser like that, if they're thinking of leaving, that is the most dangerous time for them. He could kill her. So if you know somebody that in your male circle that seems like that type, please call the hotline before you do anything. Because if he has a partner that he is hurting, it is very, very dangerous when they leave. And if you're this type of man and you feel stung, trip on your face. I don't care about your keyboard and walk yourself the fuck out of my chat because I don't care about you at all. I said what I said. You're going to have to do a whole lot of work before I'm even willing to have a conversation with you. It is what it is. Bye-bye. Next up, we have the guy that nobody ever believes could possibly ever. He's Mr. Sensitive, though. And the central attitudes driving Mr. Sensitive look a little like, I'm against the macho men, so I couldn't be abusive. As long as I use a lot of psychobabble, no one is going to believe you that I am mistreating you. I can control you by analyzing how your mind and emotions work and what your issues are from childhood. I can get inside your head whether you want me there or not. Nothing in the world is more important than my feelings. Women should be grateful to me for not being like those other men. I mean, I'm sensitive. I read the books and I listen, and then I use the things that they tell me against them. How could they possibly know that that's what I'm actually doing? With this type, because he's shady, and fools people. I have been fooled by this type before, not gonna lie. We need to actually look closely at what Lundy Bancroft mentions as dynamics typical of a relationship with Mr. Sensitive. Because Mr. Sensitive is going to convince people that he's not the bad guy. But he's so nice. How could you think he's a bad guy? Let's look at the dynamics. So the dynamic number one is you seem to be hurting his feelings constantly, though you aren't sure why, and he expects your attention to be focused endlessly on his emotional injuries. And if you're in a bad mood one day and say something unfair and sensitive, it won't be enough for you to give him a sincere apology and accept responsibility. He'll go on and on about it, expecting you to grovel as if you had treated him with profound cruelty. Now, there's a twist here. This is what an abuser accuses his partner of doing to him, when all the partner is asking for is for him to be like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. But that's too hard. It's so scary to say, oh, my bad. I shouldn't have. Oh, my bad. I shouldn't have. Oh, my goodness. Why are y'all so weak? Number two aspect of a dynamic potentially existing with a relationship with Mr. Sensitive. When your feelings are hurt, on the other hand, he will insist on brushing over it quickly. You know, your feelings don't matter that much. Just come on, just move on. Can't we just move forward already? He may give you a stream of pop psychology language. Just let the feelings go through you. Don't hold on to them so much. Or it's all in the attitude you take towards life. Or no one can hurt you unless you let them. To substitute for genuine support for your feelings, especially if you're upset about something he did. None of these philosophies applies when you upset him, however. You know, when you upset him, the world has ended. Catastrophes have happened, and you better get down and grovel, baby. Number three dynamic that could exist with this sensitive type of abuser. With the passing of time, he increasingly casts the blame on you for anything he is dissatisfied with in his own life. And your burden of guilt keeps growing because he cannot possibly be responsible for his own actions or the results of his choices. That's all your fault. He's got to have somebody to blame. So blame his partner because they're right there handy. And it's so much easier to be a dick to somebody and blame them than it is to go check the mirror because I don't want to wash my stinky colonizer ass. Is that what y'all, that's what they say to men? They're just like, I don't care if I have stinky colonizer ass. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm gonna keep my colonizer ass. It's better. It's better. I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive though. Don't hurt my feelings. Don't tell me as a colonizer ass, it might hurt my feelings. Don't you know? I read the books. I know that colonizers came and did a genocide here, and that's just a very mean thing to call me, ma'am. I think that that's rude. And just shut the fuck up. Number 4 dynamic that could exist. He starts to exhibit a mean side that no one else ever sees and may even become threatening or intimidating. Now, they do often become threatening or intimidating, and they also like to use the plausible deniability when they use violence. So they're the pinning, pushing type, just if you ever need to know, and possibly the looming, intimidating type. Very, very, very much the yelling and whining, how I, I'm oppressed and everything is against me. And why don't you feel bad for me as a cishet white man? The world hates me right now. Now, some of you are going to feel poked. Some of you are going to feel like I'm talking about you, even though I didn't say nobody's damn names. I just happen to know that some of you are way too sensitive for these conversations sometimes. So I'm reading it from a book. It's from a book. If you feel poked, you probably don't like that thing about you. You might be feeling a little sensitive to something that you probably don't like about you, or maybe you don't like it about somebody you know and you don't quite know how to tell them that that really sucks of them. If I didn't say your name and you feel poked, you probably should lace your shoes up. You should lace them up. Because, I don't want you to trip and fall and bloody your nose and ruin your keyboard while you make your shitty comments below. I will answer them. Let's go. Moving right on forward to the next stinking abuser type. Yay. The next exhausting ass man abuser type is the player. And he's very in love with himself. It's not just a summer thing. His central driving attitudes coming from his mind sound a little something like, women are put on this earth to have sex with men, especially me. Women who want sex are too loose, and women who refuse sex are too uptight. It's not my fault that women find me irresistible. This is a word-for-word quotation from a number of Lundy's clients, by the way. It's not fair to expect me to refuse temptation when it's all around me. Women seduce me sometimes, and I can't help it. Sorry, I had a physical reaction. If you act like you need anything from me, I'm going to ignore you. I'm in this relationship when it's convenient for me and when I feel like it. Women who want the non-sexual aspects of themselves appreciated are bitches. If you would meet my sexual needs, I wouldn't have to turn to other women. I married this type. Fun. They're so fun. Um, well, for one thing, um, they spread disease. They spread disease. They got little poison wands and they go around poking them into things and spreading disease. Sometimes they make babies and they're really, really just mostly very in love with themselves. They can be physically violent, oftentimes when you catch them cheating, because wonders never cease and irony be like that sometimes. Dr. Lundy says that they will often claim to suffer from sex addiction or join Sex Addicts Anonymous because they can pick up more women. He also says that oftentimes women will excuse the other types of abuse he's doing or just not notice them because the cheating is so loud, especially when he's bringing you a disease a week. You know, it's hard to ignore the disease a week. His partners might lose sight of the patterns of abuse. And because he is incapable of taking women seriously and sees women only as objects to dip his poison wick in, he will never be a safe partner. So the player type, never going to be a safe partner. He only sees women as things that he can dip his little poison wick in. Do you feel stung? Are you in love with yourself and I hurt your feelings? Did I make you question your self-image? Oh my goodness, Gravy. Did the look in the mirror hurt? Oh, oh, you saw what I see in the mirror? Oh yeah, that would sting. Yeah, yeah, that would sting. That would. Mm. You want to do the thing where we, take the breath and stuff so you can lace your shoes up without breaking your nose before you write your nasty comment, or you just gonna go headlong into absurdity? I mean, I don't care either way. There's this amazing like songstress, and she goes by Halsey, and she does a cover for another artist who doesn't really matter because I mean they don't matter. Anyway, the lyrics go like this: if you like the way you look that much, maybe you should fuck yourself. Have a day. Next up on the list of absurd ass insecure men. Let's go. Next up in our menagerie of men that can't control their emotions is my favorite to laugh at and take pleasure and joy in the weakness of. And that's probably mean of me. I'm trying to see if I care. I think my fuck bag might be empty though. I don't think I refilled it after the last time I tried to give a fuck or two. I think I'm out. Yeah. I mean, I'll consider refilling it later. It'll be fine. Just out for now. So, central attitudes driving Rambo, who is difficult to endure and deal with. The definition of tough from Rambo's own mind. Strength and aggressiveness good. Compassion, conflict resolution bad. It is a wonder that he understands some of those words though. You got to give him credit for understanding some of those words. Anything that could be even remotely associated with homosexuality, including walking away from possible violence or showing any fear or grief, has to be avoided at any cost. So, if he feels emasculated, he's probably going to hit someone. Yeah, they're fragile. I told you, fragile. No, I told you difficult to endure and deal with. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm telling you now, they're also fragile. They're very, very fragile and insecure. if they feel like you maybe associated them with femininity, they might think that they are gay, or that you think that they're gay, and then they have to question themselves if they are gay, and that hurts them. That hurts their feelings, because everything in their minds that is feminine is also gay. And for some reason, the society has taught men that that is like the last thing they should be. And at the same time, to be incredibly homosocial. It's a very strange irony. And I don't know, is irony the right word there? I don't know. Yell at me in the comments. It's a really strange dynamic y'all have going, where you both can only listen to, hang out with, be vulnerable, which is also truly intimate with other men, but to be sexually intimate and really like vulnerable as far as feelings and manage your emotions and shit would be, I don't understand. One of you can mansplain it to me though. You one of you can mansplain it. I know you're itching to. Right down there in the comments. And another dynamic or driver for these Rambo types is men should never hit women because it's unmanly to do so. However, exceptions to this rule can be made for my own partner if her behavior is bad enough. Because men got to keep their women in line. Weak men think they need to, I guess. You are a thing that belongs to me, like a trophy. Yeah. These men think they're tough, and they often try to exude masculinity in very extreme ways. And they are often the most fragile, weak, insecure men. And Rambo is insecure all the time, and Rambo is probably not only aggressive with his partner, he's probably aggressive with just about everyone. Rambo thinks that it's strong to intimidate people, and so he's out there being difficult to deal with and endure all the time. He really loves being seen as tough, which is difficult to endure and deal with. However, he thinks that that somehow equates to strength, which is quite strange. Now, he really, really, really wants to handle all situations with a subtle to not so subtle creation or presentation of fear. He feels like fear is how you control things, and if he is scary, nothing can come to scare him. Now, this type of man is actually terrified. He is so afraid all the time that he is just constantly out there projecting that onto others. So he's being intimidating and mean and stuff because he's really, really afraid somebody's going to hurt him. And he feels like if he lashes out first, they're not going to dare touch him, right? Also, sometimes he just gets off on it. He has little patience to no patience for what he sees as weak, fragile, or indecisive, and he will probably come with a criminal record for violence, theft, drunk driving, or drug dealing. Now, this kind of guy appeals to women that want that protected feeling and the protective type. And he likes to see himself as a protector, and he is probably somebody who will end up being who women need protected from, which is usually the case with those ones that like to say they're protectors. The cannibal class, the predator class of men. They are masculine, but aggressively masculine and aggressively aggressive in situations that really probably aren't necessary. Sometimes they come with different flavors of mental illness, but not all of them necessarily need to. These kind of men are one of the weakest, most insecure type of men, and one of the most dangerous because they are physically aggressive and they will hurt people if they're tiny little egos get pricked and they feel like they might have to look in the mirror and see themselves as their real little tiny squishy selves. They're very afraid of that tiny squishy self. That tiny squishy self has feelings and stuff, and feelings are scary. Feelings are big and they're scary, and they're hard for Rambo to deal with because Rambo tough, feelings not tough. Yeah, I know. That stung some of you. Okay, let's do the thing. Ready? In through your nose, out through your mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lace your shoe up. Don't get blood on your keyboard while you're writing your shitty mansplain below. Let's go. Because of course there are more. Of course there are more types. Oh my gravy. Of course there are more types. Ugh. The one thing y'all are creative in is how to hurt people. Oof. Y'all really ain't bringing your best. See what the next flavor has in store for us. Next on the list of fragile ass men is the victim. Now, there are some central attitudes that drive the victim, like there are some central attitudes that drive the rest of them. Let's see. The victim, according to him, would say, everyone has done me wrong, especially the women I've been involved with. Poor me. When you accuse me of being abusive, you're joining the parade of people who have been cruel and unfair to me. It proves you're just like the rest. It's justifiable for me to do to you whatever I feel you're doing to me, and even make it quite a bit worse to make sure you get the message. Women who complain about mistreatment by men, such as relationship abuse or sexual harassment, are anti-male and out for blood. These are the ones that think misandry is real. I've had it so hard that I'm not responsible for my actions. You're responsible for my actions. These type of men are very similar to our sensitive type, except for Mr. Sensitive has done more of the reading. He actually knows some of the verbiage to go along with his nonsense. This one is just abusive without the fluff. I mean, Mr. Sensitive at least gave you fluff. I mean, you didn't really want the fluff. The fluff probably made you feel crazier. But hey, let's find out. Let's see, what are some things that we should discuss about the victim? Well, Lundy Bancroft says that women sometimes ask, but what if a man I am dating really was victimized by his former girlfriend, since these men will often claim that? How can I tell the difference? And he says there are some things that you should watch for that are fairly distinct to the victim type or the victim mindset if the abuser is operating on a spectrum or with, a very full kitchen of gross ingredients to choose from. So, Lundy Bancroft says, number 1, if you listen carefully, you often can hear the difference between anger towards an ex-partner, which would not be worrisome in itself, and disrespect or contempt, which should raise warning flags. A man who has left a relationship with bitterness should nonetheless be able to talk about his ex-partner as a human being, with some understanding of what her side of conflicts was and some ways he might have contributed to what went wrong. If he speaks in degrading or superior ways about her, or makes everything that went wrong in the relationship her fault, be careful, because it is likely that he was the abusive one. That's my experience. Number 2, try to get him to talk about his own conduct in the relationship, especially around the time of the breakup. If he blames his own behavior on her, that's a bad sign. The flag is red. Red is the flag. 3, be particularly careful of a man who claims to have been the victim of physical violence by a previous female partner. The great majority of men who make such claims are physical abusers. This is the expert talking. Okay, I'm reading directly from the book. Ask him for as much detail as you can about the violent incidents, and then try to talk to her or seek out anyone else who could give you a different perspective on what happened. Watch for warning signs of abusiveness. You should buy this book. If you are questioning why does he do that, is the title of it. Chapter 5 are signs of abusiveness. If you're a man who just wants to help stop the normalization and see if you recognize any of these traits in your friends, grab the book. Number 4, pay attention to how he talks and thinks about abused women. A genuine male victim tends to feel sympathy for abused women and support their cause. The victim, on the other hand, often says that women exaggerate or fabricate their claims of abuse, or insists that men are abused just as often as women are. And there are gonna be some guys in my comments that have that feeling and are still mad that I refuse to say not all men. You know what I gotta say? Let's do the exercise. Come on, in through the nose, out through the mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lace your shoes up. You don't want to mess up your keyboard when you're leaving your hate comment. Next up, let's see what we have next, because there's more. Of course, there's more. All right, y'all. This type of abusive man is referred to by Lundy Bancroft as the terrorist. And his central driving attitudes from his mind might sound something like, "You have no right to defy me or leave me. Your life is in my hands." Women are evil and have to be kept terrorized to prevent that evil from coming forth. I would rather die than accept your right to independence. The children are one of the best tools I can use to make you fearful. Seeing you terrified is exciting and satisfying. Your body, my choice. Yeah, I'm talking about you, you little fuckwit. The terrorist strives on fear. He wants to make his partner afraid all of the time. He may not outright hit right away, but you're always afraid that he might in the next moment. And if he does, he might just occasionally hit, but make you believe any moment he could, so that you're on the knife's edge of fear all of the time, because that is what he thrives on. He is sadistic and cunning, and he enjoys the fear. He gets enjoyment from pain, and he finds the cruelty of it the thrill. That is what he gets excited about. He, from what Lundy Bancroft says, is likely to have been severely abused as a child, which is not generally true of other abusers. You cannot help him heal. Let me repeat. Lundy Bancroft is very clear here. You cannot help him heal. And a lot of the times people will stay because they believe they can. All you can do is make sure that the victim escapes with their life. These are the type of men who will sometimes kill their partners, though any of the other types could as well, and do. Femicide is up. Now, a lot of the times, the people involved with these type of men will convince themselves that they can help them, and then they will do that to their detriment. When a person leaves a terrorist, this is the type of man who will stalk and threaten. The key to this is making him know that there are natural consequences and they will be enforced. This is per Lundy Bancroft. And in italics, he writes, "It is essential that friends, relatives, courts, and communities understand the realities of these risks and give the woman the most complete support and protection possible, while simultaneously taking steps to hold the abuser accountable. It may be possible to stop the terrorist from escalating to murder, but only if he gets a strong message that stalking and threatening an ex-partner is unacceptable, that he is responsible for his own actions, and that the community is prepared to jail him if his threatening behaviors do not stop immediately." This book does give tips for people that need to escape. If you're interested in knowing more directly from Lundy Bancroft, either to check yourself, check your own mirror, or to check what you know so that you can better, check your community and maybe help to reduce the normalcy of some of these things. The book, again, is called Why Does He Do That? And it's by Lundy Bancroft. It's an excellent resource and I hope it is used. Also, if anyone is the victim of domestic violence or needs resources, please do check the things that pop up on the screen. I will be putting them up throughout. I will have put them up throughout the video and I'll put it up again now. These are resources. Do it confidentially. When you leave is the most dangerous. So confidential is important. And I wish you the best safety and luck. And escape can happen. Most do. Just know that. Most victims do get away. Now, femicide is up. So, gentlemen, check your bros because they're the ones doing it. Now, I appreciate y'all for being here, and you have made it to the end. You have successfully made it through all of my snark and spice, and actually you've just made it through a lot of information that I think is more important for us all to know and talk about honestly. And it's hard and it's heavy and it sucks. But I appreciate y'all getting through it and making it to the end here. Also, if you want to help me with that eating thing that you know I really love to do, the Ko-fi. That's where you do. You help me with the Ko-fi. Now, last week's prompts, I made a little short for them. In case you didn't get them, you can get them from the little short or right now when I answer them. Haha. Last week's, what expectations set by others or yourself are too weighty for you? And I said to focus on expectations set by others if you that you've internalized if you do choose the others, and how can you reasonably lower them. So expectations I have on myself are too much time editing, and how I can reduce that is to manage my time better. Honestly, I really have to manage my time when I'm editing better. Yeah, I have to manage in time for editing. All right. Now, bucket list things that I will never do. I don't have a bucket list, so none. I don't have one. Okay. Those are last week's prompts. Now, you get 2 new prompts this week. Remember, these are journaling prompts, or if you just need to talk it out with yourself, do these to help you. What's no longer serving you but taking up precious space? How can you let it gently roll out of your life or give it a swift kick? That one's good. I like that one. I'm going to give that one some thought. Now, what do you fear other people think or say about you? And how is it holding you back from bright, shining possibilities? I already know I'm going to answer this one. I already got that answer. Yay. I'm a step ahead for next week. Yay me. All right, y'all. If you don't want to donate to my Ko-fi and you still want to help me, I have a store. It's Threadless. The merch will pop up here. You'll see the little Threadless website. Just go check it out. Hey, if you just want to click on it to help the algo, that is awesome as well. And leave your comments. You can mansplain, you can leave comments. I do answer them for the nonce. Now, you also have to do that thing you do. I know. I keep saying it. But that thing you do, for every one bad thing you say or think about you, you say two good things about you. Don't recycle the same things in the same 24-hour period. You deserve to treat you with the same love you would treat anybody else. I hope y'all have the best week, and it's time to celebrate you in the most absurd way imaginable. Because we haven't done that yet. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. All right, you've been celebrated in the most absurd way imaginable. And I do appreciate you. I'll see you next week. Be intentional in your humanity and, check your biases. And those of you that are mad, lace your shoes up. Don't mess up your keyboard. Put your snark down below. I'll see y'all next week.